Good morning, everyone. It's Rabbi Akiva Males, and I hope you're well. Today is Friday. It's March 19th. We're getting ready for Parshas Vayikra. Vayikra starts the third sefer in the Chumash, which begins to tell us all of the details of the korbanos, the many offerings that would be brought in first in the Mishkan and later in the Beis HaMikdash. And there are so many details. I want to focus this morning on one fascinating one. We're told in the Pasuk, it says in Perek Beis, it's Pasuk Yud Aleph, it says, no meal offerings that we're going to bring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the Beis HaMikdash should be leaven. They cannot be chametz. They have to all be kosher lePesach. Because we shouldn't cause to go up in smoke. We shouldn't bring as any type of a korban to Hashem, anything which is leaven. Nothing was ever brought on the Mizbeach, which was pure chametz. And no devash, nothing of honey, nothing sweet would ever go on the Mizbeach either. And what's the reason for this? There were so many items that went on the Mizbeach. Why is it that the Torah is specifically telling us that Hashem says, I do not desire any chametz to ever be brought on the Mizbeach and no devash to be brought on the Mizbeach as well? And the Sefer HaChinuch, in his work where he wants to offer theories behind what Hashem may have envisioned, what he may have wanted for us out of the mitzvahs, he spends a lot of time on this because this is a very, very puzzling mitzvah. And I want to share with you something fascinating, which the Sefer HaChinuch suggests. He says that there are two real great limudim, two great takeaway lessons for each and every member of Klal Yisrael from the fact that Hashem says, I do not desire chametz or devash on my mizbeach. And here they are. The Chinuch says, first of all, about the idea of chametz. What is chametz? It's so apropos as we're getting ready for Pesach. Chametz is inactivity. If I take water and flour and mix them together and I don't manipulate them, I don't stir them, I don't knead them, I just let them sit for 18 minutes, that's chametz. What is non-chametz? How do I stop the process of chimutz, of leavening? The more I manipulate it, I stir it. If I keep moving that flour and water mixture and I don't stop, it cannot become chametz. So constant movement is the opposite of sloth-like behavior. Chametz represents sloth-like behavior. And the Chinuch suggests that what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us, with saying, I do not desire chametz, I'm in Mizbeach, is he's telling us a lesson for life. We are supposed to be active. We are supposed to be engaged. We're not supposed to just sit down and say, I want to live a couch potato style life. That's not what Hashem has in store for us. He wants us to be active. He wants us to be busy and wants us to make the most out of all the time that we have in this world to be engaged in Torah, Chesed, mitzvahs, ma'asim tovim, all sorts of good ideas. These are opportunities that are around us. And if we just go through life like a sloth, just being on our couch as a couch potato, we're going to miss out on so much. So Hashem says, no chametz on the Mizbeach, and that's intended according to the Chinuch. So he suggests that maybe what Hashem wanted out of us by saying no chametz is that one is a lesson for each and every one of us, that that's not our midah, that's not our character trait. We are supposed to remain busy and engaged, not couch potatoes. What's the second idea about no devash on the Mizbeach? So I find this absolutely fascinating. The Chinuch suggests that there's such a lesson here for us in terms of nutrition, is that it's so easy to fall into the trap of saying, I want to just eat and drink everything that tastes so sweet and it's so good. Okay, in proportion, in moderation. But if we're going to go through life just devouring devash, just devouring what tastes so sweet and all the fatty foods, we're going to ruin ourselves. We'll ruin our health. We'll ruin everything around us. So the Torah is saying no devash. Why no devash? Okay, we don't have to go through life just eating tasteless items that aren't sweet, but the Torah is telling us don't get carried away. Everything needs to be consumed in moderation. Let me just read you some of the words of the Chinuch. The Chinuch says as follows about the devash. He says that the Torah is trying to distance us from pursuing all of these sweets. A person should not spend their entire life just pursuing all sorts of foods that are sweet and they enjoy they're so enjoyable to the palate. This is what gluttons do, that their entire life is spent trying to chasing after that perfect taste, that sweet taste. That's what they're doing all day long. They're chasing after. That's not us. Food is functional. We, of course, need to enjoy our food, but it's meant to keep us going so we can be functional people in this world, be productive and live lives of Torah, mitzvos, chesed, and ma'asim tovim. Like that first point, Hashem doesn't want us to just sit around and be inactive. He wants us to be busy and engaged in good deeds. How do we do this? We have to fuel our systems with healthy food. Of course, it could taste good, but that shouldn't be the focus of our existence. How can I fill myself and stuff myself on good tasting foods? Let's just try to consume foods that are going to be good for us. And of course, they can taste good too, but everything in moderation. So what we're going to need in order to sustain us is shomer al brias evarav, but we also have to be careful about what's going to maintain our health. I find this absolutely amazing, because if you speak to any health expert, you speak to nutritionists, dietitians, what they're telling us is two of the greatest problems that modern day Western society is facing is our lifestyle. And what specifically about our lifestyle is that many of us are leading sedentary lifestyles, that we're just not active. And our diets are terrible. And here's the chinuch. Here he is, the time of the Rishonim, 1,000 years ago, he's telling us that perhaps this is what the Torah wanted to teach us by saying no devash and no chametz on the mizbeach, is that we need to remain active. And we have to be mindful of that which we're consuming. Absolutely amazing. I just want to share with you something from the World Health Organization, the UN's body of health experts. Here's just an article that appeared a couple of years ago. Physical inactivity, a leading cause of disease and disability, warns WHO. Physical inactivity can have serious implications for people's health, said the World Health Organization today on the occasion of World Health Day. Approximately 2 million deaths per year are attributed to physical inactivity, prompting WHO to issue a warning that sedentary lifestyle could very well be among the 10 leading causes of death and disability in the world. I want to couple that with another article, and you'll see tons of these. Just do a quick Google search, and they'll say that one of the most adverse effects, the ripple effects of this pandemic, is that, yes, we've created all of these, especially initially, when the lockdowns were very severe, everyone realized we had to do this. There was this virus that was on the loose. We weren't exactly sure how it was spreading. And of course, those lockdowns were absolutely necessary, but something terrible, ripple effect resulted from this, is that exercise and diet went completely kaput. And all sorts of experts are saying we have to regain a balance now. We've got to start moving again. We can't fall into this couch potato lifestyle that all these lockdowns promoted. We've got to be very mindful of what we're eating, our exercise, and make sure that we're moving again. This is all part of Nishmartem Lo L'Nafsho Seichem. If we were so concerned and all these lockdown measures to save lives and to promote health, in terms of making certain that there wasn't transmission of the virus, we certainly have to be just as careful in terms of listening to our health experts about what we need to do to remain healthy. And that involves remaining active, and that involves being mindful of what we are consuming. I'll just tell you one last thing about this. Every month, I go for the Chav K out to Covington, Tennessee. It's the nation's largest ice cream plant, and it's all under the Chav K. It's owned by Unilever. They make Breyer's ice cream. They make popsicles. They make Klondike bars. A couple of Ben & Jerry's items are there. All sorts of good humor items. I'm out there, and I speak to them, and they tell me it's absolutely mind-boggling. We hear all sorts of reports of how many businesses were adversely affected because of the pandemic, how many people, Nebuch, have lost their livelihoods. But they're telling me in the ice cream plant, business is through the roof. They're operating 24/7. They don't have enough workers to function in the plant, especially when it's a holiday weekend. They don't have enough workers. They're operating 24/7. They said ice cream sales have gone through the roof. And I said, what do you attribute this to? They said the pandemic. So many people were locked down. So many people had to make decisions that changed their lifestyle. And they said, look, if I can't do this, I'm going to indulge on some ice cream. And that's fine in moderation. But now, again, we got to get a handle on this. I don't want to take away from Unilever's business at all, but we've got to get a handle on this. Health experts are saying that there's been an incredible amount of unhealthy living as a result of this pandemic, people not being active, people eating all sorts of junk and developing all sorts of unhealthy lifestyle. So we've got to get control again as we are seeing the light at the end of this pandemic tunnel. And God willing, everyone who's able and eligible to get vaccinated are going to get those vaccines as soon as they can. But another thing we need to be mindful of is we need to start moving again. We need to get exercise back into our lives, and we have to be thinking about what we're consuming. It's all part of Nishmartem Lo L'Nafsho Seichem. And just to end on this final note, everyone knows in another week is going to be Pesach. Thank God we're looking forward to a beautiful, beautiful Yom Tov. And last Shabbos was Parshas HaChodesh, and we read the pasuk says, that we have to guard the mitzvos. And Chazal tell us, what does that mean? Mitzvah habaliyadcha al tach mitzana. When mitzvah opportunities come to our hands, don't let them become chametz. What does that mean? Don't just sit. Don't remain inactive. Jump at the opportunity. We need to act with great zeal. We have to act with zrizus. And we've got to jump at that opportunity to perform that mitzvah. And that's another thought we could get. The Torah says, no chametz on the mizbeach, because we need to be quick. We need to be moving. We need to remain active. Let's remain active. And let's remain active when it comes to asiyas ha-mitzvahs, when it comes to performance of the mitzvahs, all the chesed that we can do. It's not going to happen if we all just sit on the couch. So let's remain active and let's remain mindful of what we're consuming. With that, I want to wish everyone a good Shabbos.